Hello everybody, we're on our lunch break. We grabbed a quick bite to eat, and we'll give you a quick update here. We've only got a few minutes before we got to be back in court. I'm sitting here with Brand, and hopefully both of us can give you a quick rundown of what's going on. We have started the closing arguments. The government has spent 2 hours at that here this morning and went over the lunch break. And right when we get back right after lunch, Mumford's going to continue with the closing arguments. And he's expected to take 4 hours. So we're going to be sometime after 5 o'clock tonight, probably 5:30. What do you have, Brand, for us?
Well, of course, the government has been trying to shape the narrative and using very little honesty in doing that. That's what I see. He's twisting and turning and trying to sway the jury towards their position. So, we're having to suffer through that right now. But here, pretty quick, we're going to go in and listen to the attorney for the defense, and hopefully it'll be a pleasant experience. So it'll be better than what we've seen so far, that's for sure.
Yes. So far, even the defendants that we've talked to this morning here during lunch, they agree that there are nothing that the government presented today in their closing arguments that have any bearings. There is no conspiracy. It's pretty awesome to see. It was a really lame closing argument, to say the least. The attorney for the government that brought the closing arguments, he named each one of them and trying to find something. He was struggling to find something that each one of them done to tie them in together to say they conspired together. Pretty much the only thing they could say about Ryan Bundy is that he stole some cameras, showed a couple pictures that he had a gun at one time or the other. But other than that, there was nothing. Said, well, it doesn't matter if you're a cook like Neil Wampler. He still conspired and helped prolong the situation there. These were not protesters. They're trying to say they were just downright thieves when there was nothing but protesting peacefully, trying to bring awareness to corrupt government. And that's what the government is still trying to cover up at this point.
Yeah. And some of the reports from the jury is that they seem to be in a better mood, joking with each other.
They was really in a good mood.
Yeah, and laughing with each other. And that bears well, I believe, for the defense.
It does.
And also the ones that aren't on the jury right now, what do they call them? The alternates?
The alternates.
They wanted to be in and be able to witness this, which tells me, if they just wanted to slam the door on the defendants, they wouldn't want. People don't really like to see that. So I think they're kind of got the same attitude as towards the existing jury right now, and I think it bears well for the defense.
The alternative jurors, they want to stay in on the case. I don't think they're going to be allowed to, but that was a good sign. They have gotten really involved emotionally. They're watching the case. They've been laughing as they come in. Yeah, I think it's been a good sign. They're at ease. They're not stressed out like someone who's fixing to slam the hammer down as a guilty verdict. They can see through this. So I'm very impressed with the jury that we have.
Yeah. This turned into a human interest story, I think, from the perspective of the ranchers and the good people of the earth who have been oppressed for all these years. And I think that message is getting across.
It definitely has. Yeah. Tomorrow, how it's going to play out, Mumford's going to finish out the day. They're going to keep us there in court till Mumford is finished with his closing arguments. Tomorrow, we'll start out with each one of the defendants taking about an hour apiece. Shauna Cox expects to take an hour. David Fry's attorney, Jeff Banta's attorney, Neil Wampler's attorney, and Matt Schindler, Ken Medenbach's attorney, says he's probably going to take about an hour and a half. But pretty much an hour apiece tomorrow, and they'll be done and wrapping it up. Then they are saying that the jury will go into deliberations on the following day, and whatever time it takes, we'll be ready for them. I don't expect it to take very long myself, honestly. I think it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, and we're going to get a verdict back.
Yeah, and we would hope that everybody would continue to pray for the defendants. Chase and Patrick gave a wonderful prayer this morning. It really touched everybody, and continue to pray for the defendants. God is all-powerful, almighty, and He can do anything that we request of Him. So let's continue to pray.
Continue to pray. We did a prayer up on the 9th floor and the 13th floor this morning, all in a big circle with different ones of the people participating and even the defendants. We had Jeanette Finicum, Carol Bundy. We had Jeanette Finicum's daughter Tara, Margaret, which is Carol Bundy's sister, I think. I know it's Ammon and Ryan's aunt.
Yeah.
We all prayed together. We prayed both top floor and bottom floor, and we're going to continue this every morning through the rest of the trial. So we would encourage you guys to join us about 8 o'clock, even if you're at your home. Join us in this prayer.
Yeah.
Around the country, around the world. I know there's people watching from New Zealand I see on here today, and all over the country we've got people. So,
yeah, this is huge. This is really big. This is, in my opinion, this is more important than the presidency. This will shape the country more than any other single thing, because when we win this thing, it's going to send a message to the BLM, to the federal government. You can't keep doing this to the people in general, and you can't keep doing it to the farmers and the ranchers that provide our food for us. And it will empower those ranchers across this nation, all right, to stand up for their rights. The presidency's great. I hope Trump wins. I don't think he's the end-all, cure-all. But this is huge, and it's going to affect this entire country, and everybody needs to be praying for it.
this is definitely our Constitution and our freedom at stake here. And the only way, if we can hold this together, we can encourage our future president, whoever he may be, to whoever he may be. We already know we don't want she involved, but our future president, we want them to know there's Americans out here standing up for their Constitution. And
we got a lot of locals that are supporting us. Their heart and soul is into this also, and so it's not just a few defendants when you get right down to it, but it's a whole conglomeration of people and principles and powers across this country.
It definitely is. The courtrooms are packed again today. 9th floor and 13th is packed. We have a lot of audience here, but we encourage you to get down here. Tomorrow might be your last day to be in there, and then we'll be in with the jury for deliberation and just waiting us out. We appreciate everybody that joined us here. Keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you here about 5:30 possibly for a final update on what happened in court today.
You bet.
God bless. See y'all later. Good afternoon, everybody. We're out here in front of the courthouse. It's after court on, what is the night? Wednesday?
Yes.
Wednesday evening. I'm losing track down here. I have to almost look at the date before I start. But we had a long day today. It lasted till 5:30 or a little after the time we got down here. We're getting situated here, and we'll give you our update the best we can of what happened today. Mumford, right after lunch, he done the closing arguments for Ammon Bundy. This morning, as you probably already know if you've seen this morning's update, Mr. Knight with the government prosecution did this morning's argument. His lasted about 2 hours. Everybody down here, I think, and even including the media, says his closing arguments were fairly weak. He had nothing in it much to say. But Mumford, he blew it out of the house today. He really did.
He hit a home run.
He hit a home run. Today was great. We'll go through some of our notes here. I know one of the things we had was that Mumford brought up is that the government had 46 government witnesses. They called 46 witnesses for their side to testify. All but 3 of those were paid by the government. So there was
Actually worked for the government.
43 of them worked for the government. Were either FBI, yeah, they was paid. They worked for them. They was like FBI agents, BLM, Fish and Wildlife. They were paid. Two of them, there were two of them that were not paid at all, and one of them was Butch Eaton, which Butch Eaton ended up testifying for the defense, but was called for by the government. And we know how that turned out. That was an awesome testimony by Butch Eaton, which is still being played out in the end of the trial of his testimony.
And Bueller lied, obviously.
And this one of the others that wasn't paid, the only other one that wasn't paid, was a liar on the stand, and was obviously a liar.
Obviously.
He was even smirking at the remarks of the defense. He was there just to cause problems. We had the defense team called 25 witnesses. These 25 witnesses throughout the trial were included informants that the government, their own paid informants, the government did not want on the stand. They paid them to go in and cause problems with the occupiers or the protesters there, but they didn't want them to testify, and they tried to hide their identity through this whole trial. That's what's so amazing. But the defense team had some great investigators. They found out who at least 3 of these informants were, and brought 2 of them on the stand, which these 2 informants ended up testifying again for the defense. Their testimony was crucial to help win this case. And as of the day, we have a home run with this. I really do. It's just, we still have a full day tomorrow of more closing arguments, but we're going to be getting real close to having it over with, I think, tomorrow. Looks like to me.
A point I'd like to just make real quick is, all of that ammunition and all that spent brass that they drug out in front of the jurors early in this case. Well, it turns out one of the informants, FBI informants, was key in getting all that spent brass. In other words, and he admits that he was there and instructing proper firearm and bullet performance, and had a little shooting gallery going out there, and he was given commands to fire. So, and this is how the government works. This is what they do. All the time they do this sort of thing. It's this might not be called a false flag in the truest form, but he was an agent provocateur. He was out there to cause trouble. He was out there to create a situation where, the patriots were going to be indicted. That's what he was there for.
And that's what's kind of scary about this whole deal. The government is still hiding the truth that they don't want us to know. There are at least 9 total informants that were at the refuge that has been admitted to. 3 of them, we know the names. There's 6 more that stayed there at the refuge. Who are these 6?
What did they do?
What did they do? Are they part of the conspiracy that caused the conspiracy to get everybody charged with what they got charged with? That's what the big question is, and that's brought out in these closing arguments. It's a very important point that we're pushing towards a jury, and Mumford made good points on that today, that the government is still hiding the truth from the defense. They don't want the truth out there. And as I titled the front of this live stream, sunlight is the best disinfectant. That was Ammon Bundy's own words. That was used in court again today, and it's true. It separates darkness from light, and that was brought out in court today. The government has had nothing but darkness.
Nothing but darkness. They've done things in secrecy, and secrecy invites corruption. And everything that the Patriots did and the Bundys did was out in the open for everybody to see, everybody to hear. And did a wonderful job in teaching and instruction in the Constitution of the United States, where this court is doing everything it can to repress the Constitution of the United States.
The government's been afraid of all of our witnesses, every one of them. They've tried to dismiss them, not allow the witnesses for the defense. They've tried to, they've objected to the witnesses, and have really gave the defense team a hard time with witnesses. The defense has not gave the government any problem with their witnesses except for one. That was Benjamin Jones, FBI agent Benjamin Jones. He testified on the stand. He was witness number 2 for the government. Then after he left the stand, Mr. Gabriel, prosecuting attorney Gabriel, asked Benjamin Jones, FBI agent, to go investigate some witnesses that were for the defense. This is pretty significant. Where can you, by the law, go interrogate a witness in that manner and try to scare him with different tactics?
It's witness tampering.
It's witness tampering at the least. It's totally wrong. This case has so much to be investigated into on the government side. The only thing we see as conspiracy here is the government has been conspiring, and they have committed conspiracy against the people of the United States. That's where I find it.
Well, this whole thing is incredulous. You sit there, and after a while, you're like, "Are you serious?" I mean, it's so this judge is trying to make it so one-sided. I mean, she can't do any more than what she's doing, and even with that, our defense attorneys are doing an awesome job, and they are kicking some serious booty here.
They're doing great. They really are. One saying I really like here, if I can get it right, but that the government has become a lynch mob for the elite, for the most powerful. They're not here to protect the people anymore. This case has proven that.
Yes. Ammon
Bundy has been trying to bring this to light for a long time, and with the federal government, they didn't. Everybody who they was trying to protect in Harney County on this whole deal, they fortified themselves. They wasn't trying to protect the citizens of Harney County. There was no danger there, and maybe I'll find it in a minute. There was a saying that Sheriff Ward had said. Do you remember that where Sheriff Ward made a statement that that he wished that the sheriff in Nevada had done his job to protect the people there from so many arms of the BLM and them come in there. And I'll maybe find that statement.
Well, the point was brought up going back to the Bundy Ranch, and in Malheur Refuge, there's only been one organization that's pointed guns at anybody, and it's been the federal government. And the federal government is the only one that's drawn any blood. And I'm not talking just about LaVoy, but Ammon was tasered, Margaret was thrown down. Those tasers, I've never been tased, but I saw the hole that it left in Ammon, and there was a lot of blood there. And I saw what they did to Margaret's knee when they threw her down. I saw Davy Bundy's face when they ground his face into the ground. So who's been the one that's been beating people up and drawing blood, intimidating, and doing all these harsh things? It's been the federal government.
Definitely has. Sheriff Ward said something went seriously wrong in Bunkerville when law enforcement went to an armed standoff against people, and the sheriff's department did nothing about it. This is what he said before. Back in November of 2015, the Ammon Bundy. Something really other interesting to happen today that I've never seen in a case in the past, and I don't know if anybody has, but the prosecution was that they were so uncomfortable with Mumford's rebuttal that he was doing here for his closing arguments. They objected to some things right in front of the jury, and the judges said, "Oh, it's for the juries to decide." But that's not a time for objection. No. Closing arguments are open to say what you want to say in your piece. The government had their time. They said their piece, but
and nobody objected.
Nobody objected at all. They said their lies. They said their pieces. They said things that did not wasn't part of the case at all, and their opinion of it. When Mumford started telling the truth, and what they objected to is that all the guns that the FBI, they gave a whole list, and they would not they said, here's the guns through the case, but they would not let these guns, the identity of these people, the owners of these guns, be made public to the jury. Today, they got to be made public. These guns did not belong to none of the defendants.
None of them.
That's what's so strange.
None of the defendants. In fact, the only ones that they did show, anybody who's out there, was LaVoy Finicum.
Yes.
And one other person, I don't recall who it was.
And he's not one of the defendants.
And it was one of Ammon's guns.
One of Ammon's guns, that was it. But there's 33 other guns.
Yes.
That belong to possible informants that left them behind. This is what's so strange about it.
Yes.
And the prosecution did not want this to come out. That was amazing. They objected to this evidence to be come out towards a juror, but it got to be brought out anyway. One of these guns belongs to a police department out of Idaho, and they did not want that to be brought out. That was a very crucial moment there, and it was an embarrassment to the prosecution that this stuff. Mumford said, why are they trying to hide the evidence? Yeah. The evidence is here. We want to bring it out, but the government is hiding this.
Well, see, that's what a government-paid informant can do. They could have drug a whole lot of those rifles up and just put them there real easily. And see, that's what you get into when you have, somebody said, okay, there's 15 informants. So, well, who was an informant? And that's a really good point. They could have, if there's any conspiracy at all that exists, it's by the federal government to create a big problem with this whole thing. That's the only conspiracy there is.
It really was. And so it was an awesome day after it all closed today. We have the 6 remaining defendants tomorrow. They have about an hour apiece that they expect to make in closing arguments, starting with Ryan Bundy. So Ryan Bundy is going to be the first one for closing arguments tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to his closing arguments. Ryan's a great speaker. He speaks well. So this is something we're really looking forward to. And so we got Ryan Bundy, Shauna Cox, Neil Wampler. We've got Ken Medenbach, David Fry, and Jeff Banta with closing arguments tomorrow. Then the government will have a short little finish up of closing arguments and turn it over to the jurors. So I expect the way the judge talks and everybody talks, this is going to be closed up tomorrow. The following morning, we'll be turning it over to the jurors. And there's just no telling how long that's going to take, but I expect first part of next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the way it looks. The jurors are very attentive, and it's been an awesome day. You have something
got
to say?
Anybody watching this? Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? There's going to be an acquittal coming, and it will be a miracle, okay, due to all the treachery that was in here. There's nothing we could do to make people comply, make whatever, okay? You've heard a lot of what's happened here, but I have faith, and my faith is not in this. My faith is in this.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a big, giant church that the government has built where it worships itself, okay? But that's not where my faith lies. My faith lies up there, and we still have juries. So, hey, thanks for watching, John. He's done a great job. Love y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you too, Jason. One thing I would like to point out, continue to pray. It's not over till it's over.
That's right.
We need your prayers. You continue to pray. And I'm going to say something. I said something earlier today, and a gentleman just concurred with me earlier. This is bigger than the presidency. You will see that eventually. This is bigger than the presidency. This will set a precedent that will be undeniable, and people will be getting their rights. This will embolden people to stand up for their rights across this country.
That's exactly right. So tomorrow morning, we have multiple people down here that come down here and pray every morning before the trial. We get in groups. We're going to do the same thing again tomorrow in floor 13 and floor 9. We gather in a circle and pray. That's usually at our first breaks, and there's also some prayers before. So just remember, in the morning, starting about 7:30 to 10:30, keep us all in prayer. Say prayers in your home, wherever you're at, but just remember to keep this all in prayer.
Absolutely.
So we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow about noon, 12:30. God bless.
God bless all of you out there.
Have a good day.